What's up everyone, this is Bill with BLR Tuning. You guys know what time it is. Today's watch is the Galaxy Watch 6. See, we got a little custom face that we made there. Anyway, today we got a little video for you guys. This is going to be for the Can-Am Ryker. Our friends over at AMR Racing have sent one of their brand new vinyl wrap designs. We did customize it just a little bit. I'll show you that. They will do custom work if you guys reach out to them. And there'll be a link in the description below to go check them out. It's amrracing.com. And you can use discount code BLUEDRAGON, all capital letters. I'll put it across the screen. That'll get you 15% off anything on their website. Okay, so this fits all Can-Am Ryker models. This is the Psycho Kraken theme. So we'll crack this open and show you guys what it looks like. And then I'm going to show you how to do a vinyl wrap. Okay guys, so when you get the stuff out of the box, you can see here's a custom, this is one of the rocker panels. You can see it has our logo built right onto it, so that's not a sticker, that's a part of the vinyl wrap. It's printed right on it. And you can see the theme we went with. Got this blues and greens and teals in there. Our big orange logo along the rocker panels. They look really sharp. So one of the main things when you get this opened, you're going to want to open it up and let this stuff lay flat and sit. So it will start taking shape. As you can see, it's kind of rolled up. So we're going to want to lay this out, let it get some sunshine. And you're going to want to do this when you got a couple of hot days. Okay, that's the best way to do it. Let it sit for a minimum, I would say for 48 hours. Some people say 24 hours, but you would, after you get the vinyl wrap on, you don't want to ride the bike, right? You want to let it sit. This is a wet application, so you want to let it dry up and let this glue on the back of these vinyl wraps really adhere to the bike. AMR Racing has some of the best vinyl wrap in the business. They've been doing this for a long time. Their vinyl wrap was originally designed for watercraft. Okay, so it will really hold up for a long time. We've had the one that's on there right now, I believe, since 2019, and we're peeling it off. And we're going to put a new wrap on it. Okay, so if you guys want the best of the best, go check out AMR Racing. Seriously, their stuff is so thick and really nice, really sharp color, really sharp lines. They do a real good job printing this, and the fitment is really good quality too. Okay, so let me lay some of these out, and we'll go out to the bike. We are going to pop the upper panels off above the headlights. So for that, you'll need a set of pry tools. I'll have a link below for those as well. Okay, some of the stuff that you'll need to do your vinyl wrap. You'll need some isopropyl alcohol just to clean the panels and get them nice and clean. You can buy these little kits. You'll have a link to this stuff as well. But these little squeegees work really good. What I like to do is take a sock, a clean sock, and just put a sock over it. And then you can get the sock soaking wet and squeegee out all the water. We are using a drop of Dawn dish soap in a spray bottle with water. So that's all this is. You will spray the back of the vinyl and then spray the panel that you're adhering it to and then lay it down. Squeegee out the water. You'll need a heat gun. Heat is your friend. You don't get them, as long as you can put the back of your hand on the panel and not burn your hand, then you're fine. If it feels like it's getting too hot to touch, you've gotten it too hot. You don't want to overheat the vinyl, but you will have to stretch the vinyl into some spots and roll it into some creases and stuff like that, and a heat gun will help tremendously with that. It'll also help dry up some of the water, as this is a wet application. Okay, so remember, alcohol to clean everything, so we're going to clean the surface before we put something on it, and then we're going to apply the vinyl wrap to that clean surface. We'll clean one panel at a time really good with the alcohol before we apply the vinyl wrap to that single surface. So you're going to want to lay everything out and make sure you understand where it goes. They do have instructions in the box as well. It does say to install in a 60 to 100 degree Fahrenheit environment. Okay, and then there is also a printed out layout of the pieces and where they go, and I'll show you that here. I'll put it up on screen, but I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, we're outside here with Ghost. Ghost, say hi. So you guys can see what I'm talking about here. We're going to lay this out here in the sunshine. Just come out here every once in a while and lay stuff flat. As it gets warmer, it'll flatten out. Doesn't take much to you know, get the folds out of it. But okay guys, so you can still kind of see a remnants of the theme that we had on there before. Okay, with that pink and the blue and white and black. So we're gonna need to get that off there, and we'll need to get this, so we'll have to get this off and that piece there. So to get these off, you're gonna pop these push rivets up and then lift the whole thing up. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 of them that you'll need to move. And then this will pull straight up towards you at the same angle that this is at. Okay, and that is sitting on what's called a dart clip right in there. So we'll need to pop that up and get this panel off so we can get it out of our way. And then we can wrap this panel while it's off the bike. Okay, and we'll use a heat gun, get these decals off. Heat gun down there, get that decal off, or the vinyl wrap. Okay. Okay, so you can see we got those panels off. We got that off there. We'll get this strip here, these little pieces. We'll have to decide if we're going to leave those or not. Other than that, we got all the old vinyl wrap off. You see we do have some of those pieces here and here, so we may end up leaving those on there. And you can see how this left some residue behind, so we'll have to clean that really good with some alcohol and get this nice and clean. See, it's a pretty dirty panel. We do have a GoPro mount right here. That is part of our PV3 mounting system, so we'll leave that there, and we'll just cut a hole around the vinyl wrap with a razor blade to make that fit and stay on there, so we don't got to remove it. Okay, you can see here, this is the paper I was talking about. This is a layout. If you need a copy of this, you can just email to AMR Racing and they will send you a copy of it. But it kind of gives you a layout as to where everything goes, so you can kind of look at the shapes and figure out where each shape will go on the bike. So it makes it pretty easy to do the install when you have that. Okay. So I think the first thing we're going to start on is going to be these upper pieces. That's going to be these panels that we pulled off. This is the trunk, the front trunk lid. This is your hood. So these pieces here, we're going to start with that and get those wrapped and do these lower rocker panels. And then we'll start getting into some of the smaller stuff. But I like to knock the big stuff out and get the big stuff out of the way. Okay, so you can see here we've used some isopropyl alcohol and we've cleaned up the surface there, as you can see, nice and clean. So remember, the prep work is 90% of this. 10% is the application itself. Okay, the more you do here in the prep work, the easier it's going to be to put this vinyl wrap on and the nicer it's going to come out. Okay, so you don't want like any kind of chunks of dirt or any stickers or anything like that. Whatever you have under the vinyl wrap will show up in the vinyl wrap. So you want to do the best you can to clean this up as nicely as possible. These vinyl wraps are pretty forgiving. If you use a lot of soapy water, you know, on the back and on the front, remember it's just a drop of Dawn dish soap in a spray bottle. You know, so we will knock these ones out and we'll show you kind of what it looks like. Okay, so we have our pieces for our panel. This is going to be the panel on the right side above the headlight. So I'm gonna wrap this one on camera here and show you guys kind of how to do it. And we'll probably run like a time lapse when we do some of the rest. And if I run into any hard spots, I'll stop and show you guys. Okay, I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. It does take a lot of time. We're gonna do it over the course of probably 3 days. So we'll do a little bit, stop, take a break, and then we'll come back the next day. We have a week coming up here that is going to be hot all week, so this is the perfect time to do it. Okay, so you can see I cut with a razor blade. I kind of laid this up here and got a good idea because I want to leave this mount right there, and I want it to be solid to the panel, not on top of the vinyl wrap. Okay, so we have our 3 pieces for this side. So we know that we've laid them out and we know how they sit on there. So we're going to get our soapy water. We got our heat gun on standby. We're going to wrap one piece at a time, make sure it's laid down good, and then line up the next piece and work our way down. So the bigger pieces first, okay? Okay, so the first thing, we got our squeegee, and we have it wrapped in a sock. That's just so it'll slide across the vinyl nice and smooth without tearing the vinyl, okay? So we're going to need to spray this down. Remember, water, your bottle of soapy water is going to be your friend. Okay, spray the front of it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start peeling the back. You do want to make sure your hands are clean. It is a good idea to wear gloves, but the gloves do stick to the vinyl. So I'm going to spray everything. Okay, as we start peeling this, you see what I'm doing? Okay. As we peel this a little bit, you can see there, we are going to spray it because that will make it so we can handle it and move it around, and we don't got to worry about a bunch of dust in the air or anything like that sticking to it, okay? So, sorry if the fans are loud in the background. We got some fans blowing out here. It is a scorcher today. It is over 90 degrees out. Okay, so we're just going to lay this on here loose. Remember, your soapy water is your friend. Okay, I'm going to lay it on here loosely, kind of get it lined up where we want it. Soapy water is what is allowing you to move this around and manipulate it. Okay. So remember, this is where the trunk lid closes, so we definitely do not want to be above that seam. Like I said, you are going to have to use a heat gun. You shouldn't have to do any trimming really, but you are going to need to be using a heat gun to get this to lay down the way that you want it to lay down. You see how you have a crease right here? Only way to get that to sit in there perfect is going to be with a heat gun. Okay, so we got our heat gun over here. Remember, the more time you take here, the better this is going to come out, okay? You see what I'm doing? Okay, you can zoom it out if you need to. So we're going to come in here, kind of use our fingers. We want this to sit more towards here. Don't be afraid to lift it up. It's not permanent until it is, okay? You got a little bit of time to move stuff around. Just got to remember that if you stretch it too much, that's it. You're done. Okay? You don't want to stretch it too much. And you can see we need it to, so I try to tackle the harder areas first. Like right here, I can see this crease. I kind of want this to line up because this is in front of the bike. So we'll get that lined up in there, and then we will work our way back. You can see how some of that soapy water is squeegeeing out of there. Again, if it's not laying down, like right there, you can see that spot that ain't wanting to lay down. Hit it with the heat gun. We want to pull this that way. And we don't want to leave anything kind of hanging over. You can see how that is. So we kind of want to scoot it back just a hair, so we'll just work it back. Okay. And now we will work this other end here. Okay. So we are going to have to hit this with the heat gun here. I'm just working a little bit of the vinyl at a time. Okay, I want that to lay down. So you see how I got that to lay down, and I'm following this line up here. More so than when I'm not worried about this. It'll lay over that. That's a smooth transition. This is a sharp line. So we kind of want to be up towards that line there. Okay, just slowly working it. Back over some of the spots that you already did. Could have trimmed that up just a little better, but it is underneath the lip of it, so I'm not worried about that. See how that vinyl wrap will lay right on down as you heat it up. Remember, this is a plastic panel too, so what we don't want to do is heat it up so much that we affect the shape of the plastic itself. So you can see how that went on down. Well, it feels like we got another little spot here where the plastic has a different little shape to it. So we'll put some heat in there. We'll get that vinyl to follow that shape. Remember, on this, you don't want to stretch this stuff, right, too much. You stretch it, if we were pulling too hard and stretching this way, then we would end up stretching it and making it too long. So we really want to make sure we're taking our time here. Just didn't like how high it was riding up right there. Remember, it's 90% prep, right? 10% work. Make sure it's right. Okay, now we'll come along this edge and start folding all of this that way. Okay, so now we will come right here, get this end done. Once you heat it up and curl it over, it'll stay there. And if it doesn't, heat it up again, curl it over again. And that spray right there is just so that way it slides, the squeegee slides across. You want to do that while it's still hot. You can see it's starting to take shape here. We'll want to make sure we keep an eye on that end. You see how that end is kind of lifted? So we'll make sure we get everything out from under that. Remember, it's important to just do one piece at a time and focus on one piece at a time, because you don't want, I wouldn't want to set this down and start working on another piece until I know that this is laying down and staying where I want it, because if dust or dirt gets under there, you're just kind of screwed. It's going to be a real pain to ever get that to lay down the way you want it to lay down. And now we're going to roll this edge over just a little bit. We're going to hold that heat gun in one spot for too long. You see there? Looks like we got a hair right there. We'll pull that out. Okay, so now we got it all kind of laid down. So now we will just go through and make sure that our edges are nice and that everything is laying down where we want it to stay laying down. Once again, right here on this little end. Right? And we'll just make sure we keep an eye on that. Any kind of troubled spots. So make sure you keep an eye on it. Come back to it if you need to. Eventually it'll stay there. And we want to make sure we get in this crease. But there we go. That is that piece there. So you can see done up. That was 11 minutes to get that one piece on there. You'll get quicker and quicker at it. Obviously, I'm talking and trying to show you guys how to do it, but you'll get quicker at it, and you can see how it's wanting to lift up right here just a little bit. So we will make sure we hit that with a heat gun and heat it up again. And then the goal is, you know, let this sit in a hot day. This stuff can breathe a little, so it'll sweat the moisture out of it. It does have little microscopic holes in it so it can breathe. So it is really forgiving. If you leave a little bit of moisture under there out in the sun, it's going to pull itself out of it. Okay, and become pretty much a permanent fixture. This stuff sticks on really good. Like I said, it was originally designed for watercraft. So now we'll lay these other two pieces down. I'll let you guys see what this piece looks like. And then we'll probably just roll like a background. We'll film a time lapse and let you guys see some of the other pieces. But you get the idea. So let me move on and get some stuff done here. Okay, so real quick, one thing I've learned over doing enough of these is that when you're doing one panel like this, you really want to try to line things up as best you can. Remember, there's going to be a gap in between where each of these pieces was cut. So you see we did the top, we did the bottom, and now we'll do the middle. So now we can kind of center up this middle piece and make it fit correctly. You see some of the lines will line up, like right here, that white line. It'll line up, but there's going to be a gap there. So you have to picture that there is a gap there. A piece of that white line is actually missing, so it shouldn't be butted right up against it. It should have even spacing between the two pieces. Okay, and it'll all make sense when it's installed on the bike, like when you see the gaps in the hood and, you know, the different sections, the fenders, everything. Everything is, if you do it correctly, it'll all look really good. Okay, so we want to make sure we space this correctly. So that's why we did the top and then the bottom, and now we'll come in with the middle. Okay, so just a little tip there on how to get this done right and make it look right. Okay, guys, so you can see there, we got our first little piece done. That panel that goes above that headlight on the right side. So no matter what we do, we couldn't get this gap to stay the same here, so we kind of just tapered them both out. So you can see, once it's on the bike, it's going to look great. But you get the idea. It's going to look like a giant Kraken octopus wrapping around the entire bike. So, really cool theme. And if you didn't know, we are in Vancouver, Washington. Right down the road is Seattle, which has the Seattle Kraken hockey team. Okay, so there you go if you're wondering. So we'll let this sit. It's going to dry in the sun. Don't have to be in direct sunlight, but just out here in the shop where it's warm. But now we move on to the rest of the bike. Okay, so here we go. This is what it's looking like so far. I talked to my wife and we decided we are going to leave these. We'll polish them up. So all that extra blue on there, we'll go ahead and leave it. It will match the wrap pretty good. So there you go. That is what we got so far. So now it's time to move on to some of the bigger pieces like the rocker panels, and then we'll start dealing with all the small stuff. I like to get those rocker panels done because then I can kind of line everything up off of the rocker panel down low. And that's this big piece. It's the biggest piece in the box. So, throw you up on a camera. You guys can watch me knock it out. guys, so you've seen there in the time-lapse video, we got the front end done. Pretty much, I mean, there's still some small stuff we got to go over, but we got this whole hood area done, the front fascia done, so that came out really good. One thing you do want to pay attention to is like when you curve, let's see how the camera picks that up. Right here, it curves over just a little. You want to go over that again. You know, wait a couple hours, come back and check on your work. You know, if anything starts lifting up, now is your time to get it pressed down, because if dirt or dust gets behind the vinyl, then you're kind of just screwed. You're not going to be able to lay it down. You know, so you really want to go over everything. You know, every couple hours, come in and look and see. See how this is kind of right here? That should be laid over. You can see the soapy water I'm still squishing out of it. So we will get that to lay over and just keep, you know, pressing down on it and working it until it holds that shape. Because the last thing you want to do is let dust get behind there. Okay, so it's really important that you come back in a couple hours and check your work, see what's lifting up and what's not. And that's why it's also detrimental to doing these vinyl wraps, that you don't go riding the bike. We've seen pieces just fly off. You know, there's videos out there where we've seen pieces just fly off right after they, you know, left someone's shop where they got it wrapped. You have to let these things sit. They have to sit for a minimum of 24 hours, but we let it sit for 48 hours. Once we are completely finished, that's when our 48-hour timer will start. So even though we're taking over a couple days to do this, you know, we will let this sit and let it cure correctly. You know, you don't want no moisture behind there. You don't want none of that soapy water. You should be able to come along here and press on this and not get soapy water. You can see this one we did yesterday, and I'm still squeezing soapy water out of it. So that's why it's so important, you know, when you're doing these wraps. And that's why I wanted to, you know, make this video. AMR Racing was nice enough to sponsor the video and send this out to me, and you know, let us pick out the graphics that we want out of their new selection. So this is brand new on their website. Remember, there's a link in the description below. You can go check this out, amrracing.com, and then you can use discount code Blue Dragon, all capital letters. That is the nickname for this bike. That is why that is the discount code. So Blue Dragon, all capital letters. I'll put it across the screen. And that'll get you 15% off. It covers their entire website. So whatever bike you might have. AMR Racing has, or watercraft, ATV, UTV, dirt bikes. They got tons of stuff on their website for you to go check out. Okay, but I just wanted to show you a little update as to what we got done. You've seen how I did the wrap. Soapy water is your friend. You know, that just a drop of that Dawn dish soap in a spray bottle with some water. And then heat gun. This is just a cheap one from Harbor Freight. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy, but the heat is your friend. You're gonna heat that up, get it to stick. If you get it too hot, spray it with the water, and then have a piece of cardboard on standby. So when we were heating up this corner right in here, we would put this right here, and that will kind of focus the heat back into that corner and not let the heat get to our seat and damage our seat. These seats aren't cheap. Okay, that is the comfort seat, and it is not a cheap guy. So we don't want to put a heat gun to the edge of this, you know, so we want to keep that protected. So you just got to remember all those things. You know, watch where you're putting heat. Make sure your heat's going directly on the vinyl wrap and not to somewhere else like some electrical wiring or something like that that you don't want to get hot. So you can see how it's coming out. It's going to look really cool when it's done. Really great color scheme. We will be redoing the radiator protective grill. You can see I did a little custom one for us that matched that old vinyl wrap. So it's got blue, white, and pink. So we'll be redoing that guy with put some green in there, maybe some white and blue, make it look all crazy. Anyway, I'll get back at it. We'll come back here in a bit. Let me get some more done. And if I run into any problems or trouble areas, I will come back and let you guys know for sure. Okay, I didn't just want to make this entire video a time lapse. It doesn't make for that great of content, but you guys got to see a little bit of time lapse, listen to some music there. So let me knock some of the more of it out. You can see it's kind of repetitive. You're just doing the same thing. The one thing that I do when I'm doing these wraps is, like, if I'm going to wrap this whole top piece up here, I will find and locate all of these pieces that I want, and then I will kind of lay them up there, you know, test fit them, like I said, if you do the bigger one first, then you can line up your lines. I'll show you guys how we did this. So like here, I kind of lined up these little circles and these lines, and I started here. We don't have anything else up here yet. Okay, so I started there, heat that up, get it to lay down nicely, and then start working it. If I needed to stretch it at all, I stretched it a little to get it to move back over this way and stay along this line. And in here, remember there's some pieces that go in here. We haven't decided if we're gonna actually use them or not. You can make this custom, you know, you can make this your own. You don't have to use everything that's in the box. And if you ask AMR Racing, hey, I need some extra pieces, you know, a little 1 foot by 1 foot square of this type of graphic, they will absolutely do that for you guys. As you can see here, we have some squares, and we'll be able to cut those and use them to wrap other pieces. They also did this for us, which is not part of the vinyl wrap. That is something custom that they did with our giant logo on there, so we can use that wherever we want as well. Anyways, let's knock some more of this thing out. The old Psycho Kraken. Okay guys, so there you go. We got the entire vinyl wrap on there. Came out really amazing. Love the way our logo, BLRTUNING, is built into it right there. Printed onto it right there in the fender. So that's the design, Psycho Kraken. So you can go check this out at AMR Racing. There'll be I'll post it up across the screen here. There'll be a link in the description below. You can see we do have the underglow lighting on. That is our stealth LED kit that is on this bike. We can change colors, we can strobe, whatever. We have those available on our website as well. And we will be coming out with some new parts to match this theme, some new center caps, hub covers, badges for the front and back. So I'm really stoked about this. Came out really nice. You can see how it looks. So we still have to do some work. We got rid of these cheap LED light up fenders that were up there. We got rid of those. We're just going to run the black lights in the front. We carry those on our website. And in the back, again, we carry those on our website. So you guys will be able to check this out at amrracing.com. You can go get this exact theme if you want. I'll leave all the color combos below and a link in the description. Okay, use discount code Blue Dragon on their website. That gets you 15% off, covers their entire site. Like I said before, they have stuff for ATVs, side-by-sides, dirt bikes, watercraft. So the key thing to remember when you're doing these vinyl wraps is to come back. I've said it a few times in the video, I'm sure, but come back and smooth over your edges after a couple hours, you know, because this moisture that's under there, that water we sprayed under, is going to bleed out. So you want to make sure you're keeping it curved over, looking sharp. You don't want any of it to, any of it to lift up. So you want to be real careful. Let this thing sit for a good 2 days. That's what I recommend, 48 hours, of sitting and you constantly going out there and checking on it. Places where you have to curve things over. You can see how this piece stood back up. So we'll have to take a heat gun and lay that back over so it's curved right here. And you can see the moisture that I'm pulling out of it right there. You can see if I touch the metal right there. So that's the little stuff I'm talking about. You have to make sure you take care of that and deal with it, or else that'll become a problem spot later on. It will lift up. And that's where we see a lot of people that do these vinyl wraps online, and they watch videos like mine, and they learn how to do it, and they don't follow that procedure right there. And then, a couple months down the road, they're like, hey, this is peeling up. It got dirt under it. Well, that's why it got dirt under it. It's because you didn't tend to it and let it sit for that 48 hours and take a heat gun to it constantly and get it to shape. Once you stretch this vinyl wrap and it hardens and dries back up and all the moisture's gone, it will hold that shape. So that is detrimental to making one of these successful. Okay, I've done quite a few of them. I've done a couple on our own bike now. And I'm really a huge fan of AMR Racing, man. They do a killer job. And I'm telling you, you can't get a vinyl wrap that is this thick and gonna last this long. UV protective, breathing holes so the moisture can come out from under it. Like, there's a lot of science that goes into this, not just, see a design and copy it and start selling it as your own. These guys do a lot of work. They work very hard to get these correct. So anyway, I'm a huge fan. Nobody's going to convince me of any different. You guys should be a huge fan too. This stuff is amazing. Well worth the price. But anyway, I'm Bill with BLR Tuning. I hope that video helps somebody out. You know, like I said, if you hit them up, they will do custom work. Like you can see our logo on there, down here. And then if you ask them, they can send you extra pieces if you need it. They might charge you for it, but they can send it to you. So like we have extra pieces. What we're going to do up here, where normally this would be a reflector, we're going to use one of the factory reflectors as a pattern, and we'll cut a piece of the vinyl wrap that kind of matches up here to fit right in that spot. So it covers up those holes, you know, and cleans that up. So it's just little stuff like that that you can do. You know, we'll come up here and we'll probably wrap this and probably wrap these and, you know, make it look like it's supposed to be there as part of the bike and as part of being, you know, being part of the wrap, you know. And then, like I said, we'll have a custom grill made. This is still that pink, white, and blue. And then you can see we still have the pink with the heart hub cover and the teal. It looks like I got some grease on it when I was working, but it's teal with the star cutout. So those are stuff that we carry on our website, but we'll replace those with something new. But anyway, that's my video for the vinyl wrap. I hope you guys dig it. Remember, you can go check us out, BLRTUNING.co, and go give a shout out to AMRRacing.com. Grab yourself a vinyl wrap, choose your colors, do a little custom work to it. I'm telling you, absolutely amazing. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope this video helps somebody out. Peace.